And welcome to a special edition of the QiRanger Report. Today we're going to talk about something very, very important for those of us here in the United States. In fact, it's so important, it may guide the way that you live for the rest of your life. Now, in the upcoming Supreme Court term, there's one particular lawsuit that can, well, quite frankly, ruin your life. It covers the notion of pre-exemption for pharmaceutical companies. The idea behind this is the following. If you're a drug maker and you have an idea for a medication and you research it, you develop it, and it does good things. So you bring it to the Federal Drug Administration and you lay out your claims. This is what we designed the drug to do, this is what it actually does, and these are the effects on the body, both good and bad. The FDA then looks at the drug and says, okay, you're good to go, go ahead and release it to the public at large with perhaps these warnings, and the drug companies do so. Well, in our litigious society, if things don't go well, people like to form classes and have a class action lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies saying that you have damaged our health. And a lot of time and money is spent in the courts fighting these claims. Now, sometimes they're warranted and sometimes they're not. So the pharmaceutical companies and the Bush administration are trying to get the notion of pre-exemption from liability lawsuits for these drug companies. In effect, if the FDA approves the drug, then there can be no libel claim against these companies. Now, in all effectuality, that is not a bad idea. If a company is above board, provides great research, is open and honest about what the product does and what the effects are, and if something unexpected comes up and works diligently and effectively to both correct that and warn the public, I really don't have a problem with exempting them from liability lawsuits because they are actually doing the best that they can. Now, the actual case in question is Johnson & Johnson and the Orthovera birth control patch. You see, back in the late 90s, Johnson & Johnson developed this patch. And they found out that in 1999, the patch delivered between 30 and 38 micrograms of estrogen. Now that is a lot of estrogen. In fact, it's so much it can affect the heart and blood clotting and can lead to several horrible side effects, including death. When they presented the FDA with the information from their trials, the FDA approved it, but in all their marketing research, they said that the patch only let out 20 micrograms of estrogen. Now, it's unclear whether or not Johnson & Johnson lied to the FDA or if the FDA just said, okay, here you go, do it with a lesser amount. The fact of the matter is, there is this huge class action lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson because there have been well over 50 deaths that have possibly been attributed to the Orthovera patch. Now, the Johnson & Johnson attorneys say that they're exempt from a lawsuit because the FDA approved their drug. They lied to the FDA or they presented wrong information. Without regards to any other fact to the FDA, their marketing materials clearly indicate a disparity between what is actually delivered and what is in fact delivered. Now, the FDA also has publicly acknowledged that they do not like asking for strict or harsh worded warnings on medications because the drug companies push back. Folks, the FDA's job is to watch out for your best interests. I'm sorry, if you're going to pre-exempt companies from libelous lawsuits, you had better step up to the plate and actually do your job to protect the interests. Whatever the warnings need to be, they need to be out there. This whole notion of pre-exemption is a great idea, but the system is broken. Until drug companies actually put up what they research and the FDA ponies up and does its job effectively, there can be no pre-exemption. This lawsuit actually frightens me because, in all honesty, it's probably going to be passed, and this is going to be a huge precedent in terms of liability tort cases. That's today's QiRanger report. I'll catch you later.